Hey everyone, and welcome to Sasquatch Theory. In this video, David and I discussed the recent activity that has taken place around the farm. I noticed a trend with the wildlife and the Sasquatch, and basically it seems like they all show up at the same time, and then there will be long periods where they just disappear. I've seen that with the raccoons, the hogs, the deer, and it seems like the Sasquatch are the same way. David claims that when the hogs are around, he does not have any strange activity on the property, and when the hogs disappear, strange things begin to take place. Alright guys, let's dive into this next Bigfoot interview with David.
How was your trip down here?
It was pretty good. Long drive.
Long drive.
Yeah, just windy state highways. But right out there before you get to Doe Run, it looks pretty good. Like it's all Mark Twain, pine forest.
Yeah.
And, I was talking to Adam about it. He said there's a really good spot out there. And when I told him about the area that I thought was good, he's like, well, that's where David used to work at. Somewhere around there. I think it's on 72, maybe 32, 70, or 76. I can't remember.
Was it out there at Castile or?
I think you're on 32. No, I don't know. Right before you get to Doe Run, that big factory. But there's just a ton of pines, and I'm driving, I'm looking over, and I can see like broken trees, arches, and stuff. But I can't tell if it's actually a Bigfoot. But
Yeah.
It looks good. There's no houses around there or anything. There's some like man-made lakes out there. I don't know if they're like purifying water or like.
That's probably the mined lakes.
Yeah.
Is what them are.
Yeah, it looks like they
That's their tailings lakes.
Really?
And they got fish in them too.
Okay. Well, I've seen like there was construction workers there, and you can tell like they piled up a bunch of like rock to hold up that lake. But normally when I drive by, I can't see it because of like all the green, the foliage, and right now you can see pretty far.
That was probably there at Brushy Creek. Or not Brush Creek, Fletcher. There by Fletcher, the lake is right there by the, and there's railroad track right there.
Somewhere around Bixby or Boss, like it looks like it'd be pretty good. But there's so much woods out there, I definitely wouldn't want to go alone. That'd be freaky.
That'd be a good place for Adam. You could use it for bait.
Yeah. Yeah, he'd be good squatch bait.
Yeah.
But how long have you been having hog activity on the farm recently? Has it been going on this whole year? Or
No.
Okay. When did they come back?
They come back about the last of August, September. About the last of September, I guess. Had one. And then after that, I was getting that one, it just every now and then. And after that, it just, and now they've had two different sets of pigs within the last, 2 weeks.
Really?
Yeah.
And they breed like rabbits, don't they?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's hard to get rid of them.
Because I've got little hogs that weigh probably 60, 70 pounds, and I got some that weighs 30 pounds.
Oh, wow.
25, 30 pounds. And
You said you got a photo of a pretty big hog, didn't you?
oh, he's a big hog.
Well, we did. Whenever we set up cameras up there on that center ridge, we got some photos of some big ones.
Yeah, but this one was big. I thought it was one of my smaller cows, but it wasn't.
And we rode out there, and you could see where they tilled all the fields and turned everything upside down.
They've done every field I got. And I've already reseeded one. The day I got done reseeding, that one field over here, they were right back out there in it that night. And I don't know how many there are, but there's a bunch of them. And they just keep coming. But the conservation, they sent the guy out here to try to trap them, but he's not having any luck. He can't get them to come to his corn. And
they're pretty smart.
oh man, they're smart.
Yeah.
And if you make any noise, if they hear anything, well, you've seen how they run today.
Yeah.
When you seen
It
them
was like a
going.
herd of horses just tearing through the woods.
Yeah, and they can run 30 mile an hour.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
What did the game warden do, the conservation guy?
Conservation, he's got corn out, and I should have showed you where he put that last corn. They ain't hit it yet though. He puts corn out, and he puts that. He's put mesh out that he's made, and that didn't last no time. The corn where he poured that on it, that's beer and yeast. And then he lets it ferment, and then that gets us a real kind of sweet smell. And them hogs just love it. But they say them Sasquatch love it too.
On the first documentary, you mentioned the game warden said that they like the mash, or mash, whatever it's called.
Well, that was a USDA guy,
Oh, okay, yeah.
was who that was, that come out to trap the hogs. And he told me he could get pictures for me so I could see just what it was, but he couldn't do nothing about it if he did get pictures.
Yeah.
So
Maybe they're trying to lure in the Sasquatch to get rid of the hogs.
I don't know, but when they're here, the hogs ain't here. So
What about the deer? Did they disappear?
yeah, well, they're getting to where there's nothing to eat in the woods, and they're coming back. But since deer season's been going on, that scatters them all over the place. So it takes a while before they start coming back. And that cow that I had shot, that just had that baby calf out there, I'm kind of glad deer season's over with. She was shot during that doe season, that special doe season they had there at first before deer season, before rifle season, that looked like a gunshot, and then it had, the hair was off of it about that and raw. But I don't really know. I could probably go down there and dig the bullet out of her, but it don't matter one way or the other.
Yeah.
She's dead.
You said your son saw one of those orbs.
Oh boy. Him and one of his buddies and his buddy's son, I won't say their name because they didn't say they wanted nobody to know, but anyway, they decided they was going to help me find these hogs. And I had just took up with my tractor one of my cows that had got killed by turtles, and the turtles in the pond. And she was a real good young cow, but when they stand out in the pond, them turtles will swim up to them and just bite their nipples off. And then when they just bite them slick off, and when they do that, there's nothing you can do about it except for try to kill the turtles so none of the others get it. But I've had 3 killed that way. And but I put that cow up there where I had been putting all my cows, dead cows and calves, deer carcasses and stuff. And Jason and his buddies went up there, and they was going to sit there and try to kill coyotes off of that cow. And they were sitting there just kind of off from the cow, just kind of watching. And I did have a camera up on that cow so I could get pictures of it. But the camera never took one picture the whole time it was up there. Throughout all the... But anyway, they were sitting there, and his buddy said, "Jason, you see that light?" And Jason looked over there, and it was this light that was just floating over top of that cow. Mm-hmm. And it was kind of moving around real slow and floating up and down. And I did, on one of my other cameras, I did get a picture of that.
Yeah.
And it was, looked like a bar light, kind of long, and it was just going up and down.
Yeah,
I
remember
and
you
down.
showing me that.
And it was right over that cow. And like I said, I had two cameras up there. One was setting back, and the other one kind of looking down the trail, and the cow was right at the edge of the trail. And then the camera that didn't take any pictures at all was right there at the cow. And it should have got lots of pictures because them coyotes was coming in there all the time. And that's also where I got some more pictures of hogs, too. But it really got them excited.
Oh, yeah.
They come down here, and they was really excited because that light was moving. It wasn't stationary, you know. And I'd been telling them about that and showing them on these trail cameras, these lights that I've been getting, these, I call them orbs. And but until you see that stuff, until you experience it, you know, it's hogwash.
Yeah.
You know. But buddy, whenever they experience it, it scares them. You know.
What color did they say it was?
White.
White. Okay.
Yeah.
I saw one at the top of the trees yesterday, about 2 different times, but I wasn't sure if it was like a radio tower or something. But I don't think there's anything like that over there in the park.
No, it's back over here.
It was up there by the campground too, but I'm down in the killing field, so you can only see so much because you're in that, like a stadium, you know.
Yeah.
Whenever I was here last time, me and Adam and the Ozark Harry man camped up there, and I was talking in front of my camera, and I look back and I see Adam looking into the woods at something, and I start looking that way, and there's an orange orb coming up the ridge towards camp, and my blood kind of went cold because camp's up there and this light is in between us and it's nighttime. And I asked Adam, I was like, "Hey, do you see that?" And he's like, "Yeah." And then we looked at it for a few seconds and it just faded off. And
you know what? There it was. You both had cameras.
Yeah. Mine was recording too, but I was just hoping that it'd catch it in the background. But I wish I would have just grabbed it and tried to record it. And he was already recording it, so I was hoping he got something. But.
You know, but that's how it happens. You know, it takes you by surprise, and you think, "Oh, what is that?" You know, and you don't even think. You got the camera in your hand, you don't think, "Well, good night." You know, I better.
The first thing I thought about is how are we going to defend ourselves?
Yeah.
Because it's cutting us off, and it freaked me out. But
well, you know, these orbs that I'm getting right now, I'm not getting very many, but I have got a few that's clear with a kind of a white, more solid ring around them, the perimeter of it, and then it's kind of foggy, clear like ball.
Yeah.
And I don't know what the deal is with them. I haven't really got them before, but that's what I'm getting now.
The neighbors in the past said that there was a UFO that landed in one of those fields, and there was like this ring in the grass, correct?
Yeah, their grandma and grandpa.
Yeah.
Which this farm belonged to them, but it was on the farm joining where that happened, right behind the barn, from best I can remember.
And one of them touched it, is that correct?
They said that their grandpa did. and say couldn't find any doors in it or anything like that.
He didn't die of cancer, did he?
They
They say if you touch that stuff, even like meteorites,
know.
you can be exposed to radiation.
He was pretty old when he passed away, but
He already lived a long life before he
yeah.
touched that.
But he was, I don't know how old he was. That's been back in the, I think they said early 70s that happened. And that's when Missouri was having a lot of stuff. That's when the deal over Piedmont,
Like
there at the
Clearwater Lake.
dam, yeah,
Yeah.
all that stuff was happening.
Well, when I saw that photo of like the beam of light on the deer,
Yeah.
that's the first thing I thought of. I mean, that's what it looks like.
Well, what else? You know, what throws a beam of light?
I don't know.
A spotlight?
At first I thought it was the moon, but then like they started coming down directly on the deer every time.
Yeah, and one of them is actually bent. It comes down and then it bends just slightly over to one of the deer. And another thing that I noticed, Miguel, whatever this light is, don't cast a shadow. And it shines right on them deer. You know, it brightens up the deer. You can see the beam of light coming down. It brightens up the deer, but it don't cast a shadow of the deer. I don't know what kind of light it is, you know, that, because even if you got moonlight, you have shadows, you know, if the moon's full.
Yeah.
But this is just beams of light.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what it looked like. Where did that owl get caught up on the fence?
Down at the back of the killing fields.
Okay. That was pretty interesting.
It
Seemed like they were fighting, right?
There's two owls fighting. I don't know if they was trying to breed, and one of them got hung in the fence,
Okay.
or if they was fighting. They was both flopping around there on that and got hung into that barbed wire.
The next picture was big coyotes looking right up at it.
Yeah. Yeah, Kyle was staring at it thinking, there's an easy meal. But they couldn't reach it.
Oh, okay.
You know, it was on the top strand barbed wire, and I guess it probably lived a day or two, but I didn't know that it was up there. I'd have tried to got it out, but
Did it die for sure, though?
yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't know something came and let it
Yeah,
go.
something got it.
I found a little owl one time next to a pond. There was like some fishing line hanging down from a limb, and he was caught up like in the
that
line.
fishing line?
Yeah, so we got him out and flew off.
Yeah. Well, and them soda and beer 6-pack things, them plastic deals, they get their head stuck in them or their feet stuck in them and get them wrapped around ducks and a little bit of everything.
So it's good to clean up all the trash out there in the woods.
Yeah.
But a fence, I mean, there's a fence everywhere, so you just happen to get caught in it.
Well, and why them owls was flying through where that's at, because that's them hedge apples, and there is like a tunnel down through there where that fence is, but them hedge apple branches are so tough, if you can't break them. If you grabbed a hold of even a little one the size of your finger, it's really hard to break, you know, and you'll more or less cut your hand
Right.
when you try to break it. They're really, they will poke in you if you're not careful.
Yeah.
But I'm surprised that they flew through there in the first place. And then I got that picture of that hawk catching that squirrel
That was a good one.
right in front of the camera.
Yeah.
And then it flew up and had it was carrying the squirrel.
Taking it back to the nest, huh?
I guess. And I got that picture of that little black thing. I don't know what it is. Now the old boy that from the conservation that's doing the hog deal here, he seems to think it could be a bear. He said because he had a bear that was back here by Trail 5, a big bear. But the picture that I got of this black thing sitting there watching, evidently is watching me put the camera up. And it looks like a little one, real small. But
Looked like a black wolf or like some type of
well,
black
it
canine
looks like
creature.
it's got a snout on it, and that's
Ears too.
yeah. It's got kind of rounded type, long kind of rounded ears. But it's just sitting there watching,
Yeah.
and I'd never seen it. Evidently, I had that camera on whenever I was hooking it to that tree, and that's the only thing I can figure. As I was turning it to hook it up, it took the picture of it. Because that camera totally faces, it faces southeast, and that was southwest. And in the park, the camera is taking pictures down my fence line, but it was turned out in the park side. Wasn't even looking down the fence, it was looking across the fence.
So what were they doing that day? Your son and his friends were up there camping at the campground?
Yeah, they were, I think they were bow hunting. And they was needing some firewood, so they was cutting up. They cut down a tree and was cutting it up and splitting it and everything. And they had one of their friends come down from work that works with them. And he was standing over, and there was some deer down in the little campground there that were just feeding around as they was doing all this, making all this noise and everything. So he's videoing these deer. And he just happened, there was one deer that was standing over away from the others underneath the little white oak tree. And when he panned over to look at that deer and to video that deer, he didn't see it at the time. But whenever he got back home and started looking at his video, there was a black thing squatted down right at that tree. And he panned back over to the other deer and got a little video of that, maybe 2 or 3 seconds worth. And then he panned back over, and the deer was gone, and this big black thing was standing up next to that tree. It was kind of behind the tree, but it was standing there at the tree. And that's where you guys, that was the spot where the orb was coming up the hill there, the red-orange orb.
Oh, okay, yeah. So there's been a lot of activity in that one spot. The campground seems to be the best spot, but it also seems like they're coming from the south side of the property, from the park.
It seems like whenever I have people here, camping or whatever, that I have noticeable activity.
Yeah. They tolerate you guys, but when you bring more people, they don't like it.
I get little symbols, stick, like whenever the guy put out his corn bait for them hogs up there on the side of the hill in the woods, my trail comes up and then it drops right straight down the hill, right next to my field where the cow hopefully didn't find the corn. Well, right there where I turned to go down that hill where his corn was, the trail that went on up to the campground, there's a big treetop right there. And laying all the way across my road. And I took the tractor up there and tried to move it. I moved it best I could, but I still going to have to take a chainsaw up there. And I did see a tree with a broken top out of it right there. But the way where that tree's at, from where that was laying, it had to be moved because the trunk of it, the actual big part of the tree, that it was back on the other side of another tree that was bigger. So it would have had to blow completely around that tree if the wind blowed it.
Right. Yeah.
You know, to get over there, to get lay where it was at. And I've had a lot of stuff like that go on whenever during the wintertime, get my trails closed off. And that was when I got the big X, was during the wintertime whenever, if I don't use the trail very much, if I quit using the trail, it gets blocked.
Yeah.
And
they got that whole trail back there blocked, and it's gated off by the state.
They do. Back here at Trail 12.
Is it 5?
5?
Yeah.
Oh,
the
yeah.
one behind. That's where all the activity's coming from too.
Yeah.
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 Blow down Central, but some of it is just too, I don't know, straight across the road. It's not like diagonal or off to the side. It's always straight across the road, all the way down.
That,
you think they like KFC?
I don't know. They might like KFC. I'd like KFC.
Me too. What else do we got?
I hope my cup's hid.
Right? They're like, this is a sponsorship.
I don't think anybody needs to think we're getting sponsored, because we're not, by nobody.
Yeah, this program was sponsored by KFC. Kentucky
That'd be
Fried
nice,
Chicken.
wouldn't it?
Yeah, the Colonel reached out his loving hand and sponsored us now. That'd be cool.
Send us some chicken.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll be hog hunting out of like a red and white helicopter with the Colonel on the side.
Well, that conservation guy, I had to sign a waiver deal so they could bring a helicopter in here and try to kill these hogs with a helicopter. And you know, he said it was $30,000. It seems like he said for an hour of flying.
30,000 for the fuel and paying the pilot and all that. Yeah, that's expensive.
And I asked him, I said, well, do
Frogs?
they get enough hogs to make that worthwhile? He said, well, they get several. But
I've heard that before, actually. Like somebody went out hog hunting. It was like $30,000 that day, and they only got like one little hog.
yeah, well,
$30,000 hog.
I tell you, it's hard to hit a moving target even if you're sitting still. But
Yeah. You need like a 300 blackout. They don't kick back very much. It's a slower moving bullet, but
you need one of them M60s on a stationary where you're a door gunner.
Yeah.
You just light them up.
I saw a guy, or a bunch of people in Texas are getting serious about it. They got like full-on Gatling guns, just
They do.
yeah, driving around like they look like the Taliban driving.
Well, that'd be all right as long as you knew where, you know, it's
Where you're
wide
hitting.
open. And
Yeah.
this guy told me that when the sun's shining, that they can't hardly. That's a bad time for them to do that. Look for them hogs, because too many shadows.
Okay. Yeah.
So it's better when it's cloudy. And I didn't really realize that. He said there's just too many shadows when the sun's shining bright.
I think they say the same about antler hunting. Like when you're looking for horns, I think when it's cloudy, it's better. I'm not sure. I think it is.
Or
One or
have
the
a
other.
dog.
Yeah, if you got a dog, that'd be the best.
I did find a dead little buck down here in the field when I was disking it, all that hog rooting up to reseed the field the other day.
Yeah.
But probably somebody shot it and it got away from them.
Yeah.
But they can quit shooting the cattle.
Maybe that's what happened. They accidentally shot the cow. Like, oh, I thought it was a hog. Take off. Let's go. It's hard to say. It sounds like a lot of stuff, but at the same time, like this is all drawn out, like here and there, all throughout the year. So this is a recap of everything.
Yeah, it's not, there's nothing threatening going on.
No, not like before.
Like it was before.
Mm-hmm.
But just little things here and there, will get done, and it's obvious, the things, whatever it is, it's obvious that they're trying to give you a message.
Yeah. What'd you think about that possible structure I found on the trail back there? Kind of looks like something, doesn't it? That X.
That X, that big X.
Yeah, I think it might.
Yeah, that's just down below the campground. The campground's where I got the other big X, and it was obvious because it was put right across my trail. And the tree that the X was made out of, it was carried to that spot. It wasn't, there was no root, the root wad thing was on the structure part of the X. And but there was no hole anywhere there where the tree was pushed over and done that.
Yeah. I seen in Canada where like the Sasquatch will take these giant trees with the root wad and stab it into the ground and the roots up in the air, perfectly straight up.
Yeah.
That's got to be happening out here somewhere. Excuse me.
Well, either that or that's what them sticks are that's being jabbed in the ground right out in the middle.
See. Yeah, the little sticks. I never thought about that. That's about the same deal, huh? And I found those. But I'd say the big ones is a big male. If you got that, that's their territory.
Evidently, they set up housekeeping at them spots because them are big cedar trees with the root wad up in the air. They just jab them down the ground.
Yeah. So I concluded last night that it's probably dangerous to walk around at nighttime by yourself around here.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially, well, not only these hogs. There's a bunch of them, and there's some big ones, some really big ones. The ones that I'm getting on these trail cameras, you can see their tusk. So most of them probably are 175, 200-pound hogs. But now that there was two that was probably in the 500 to 600-pound range.
Yeah, they can get really big.
And, they can get real big.
Will they eat meat?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah, hog eat about anything.
So if one gored you, it'd probably eat you?
Well, there's been farmers that's been eat by their own hogs.
Yeah.
There's been cases like that people just find a boot or something in the hog pen, and the farmer never be found again.
Well, that's why they say feed them to the pigs, huh?
Yep.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
Yeah. Hogs they're very dangerous, especially when they got pigs. If they get cornered, now they'll run off if they can. If you don't corner them, they'll run off usually.
Yeah.
But now if you corner the things, they're going to fight.
Yeah.
And
like if you walk up on a fence and it's hitting the fence, it's going to turn back around and try to get you.
Yeah, it's going to run right over top of you. It's going to hurt you if it gets
just solid muscle.
The one that I was videotaping at one of my buddies, I was videotaping for him on a bow hog hunt. And it put me in a tree.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. We had two guides, and one guide was with me and one guide was with the guy that was doing the shooting. And the guy that was with me, when we walked up and seen that hog, it was wallering in a big mud hole.
Oh boy.
And the old boy, that guy that was with me had just been, he had been shot by a ricochet.
Oh wow.
He was trying to run the hog out of the brush pile.
Mm-hmm.
And when the hog run out of the brush pile, there was a rock bluff or something right there. And whenever the old boy shot it, he missed and hit a rock, and it ricocheted and hit him in the leg.
Oh wow.
So he was kind of crippled up a little bit.
No,
And he told me, he said, he's standing next to me, and he said, now son, he said, whatever you do, when he shoots that hog, don't move. I said, okay. Yeah, I'm sitting here and I'm videoing this hog, waiting on the guy to shoot it with a bow. And whenever he shot the hog, the first shot he missed, shot right over it. The second shot he got, the hog just turned around real fast and was looking kind of at him. The next shot he shot and hit it in a good spot. And that hog turned and come just as straight to me as he could come. And I'm watching him through this camera, and I look up and he's almost to me. And next thing you see is the sky. Then you see a snout and a tail. And then you see the sky, because I'm climbing a dogwood tree.
Oh, okay.
That was real butchy.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get right in the middle of that dogwood tree, because that thing would have run right over top of me. And it wound up, for about a week, it wound up making a world record hog. It was 8 foot 1 inches long and 45 inches tall.
Mm-hmm. Their eyes get really bloodshot too when they get big like that, don't they? Kind of red looking.
Yeah, and their old head is... And
no neck. I mean, just head connected to the body, basically.
But now that hog that I had killed out there in that field, up there in the killing field, it's where its neck is, it was broken 2 places. Its neck bone was snapped, and they was like a 3-inch piece of neck bone that was separated in the middle where it had got its neck broke. And like I said, it was black. It was laying out there, and I thought it was a calf. So I went over there to get it, and it was a hog. And it had its neck turned plumb around and just thrown down right there. But
another thing you've had on the property is elk. You've been seeing some nice elk.
I've got 2 pictures of 2 different bull elk. One really nice one. And the really nice one was before elk season, Missouri elk season, and the other one was during deer season, rifle season.
Yeah.
And they was both licking that mineral rock.
Yeah.
They was wanting them minerals. And
you don't get too many black bears around here, do you?
I've never seen a black bear unless that was a black bear on that, sitting there watching me, that I accidentally got a picture of. Yeah. But now that conservation guy said there's one back there, at least one. And he said it's a big one.
Yeah.
But I've never seen it. I've never heard it. I used to see a mountain lion every now and then, but the only thing I'm seeing now is bobcats and coyotes.
Have you got them on trail camera before, the mountain lions? You got a little one, like a juvenile mountain lion?
Jason got that.
Oh yeah, because you could see
it followed him. He had a drag rag hooked to his pants leg.
Oh man.
And it tracked him up to his tree stand.
That's freaky.
He had dough and heat on that drag rag.
Yeah.
And that little old mountain lion tracked him right up to his tree stand and circled his tree stand several times, went over and just laid down for a while.
Yeah.
And
that's creepy.
It was probably half grown.
You got an early Christmas present, a drone, and
Yeah, boy. I got
some trail cameras.
some more trail cameras, and I got a little drone. But my problem is I'm not smart enough to download everything and make it work.
Yeah, hopefully we can get it set up. So you got the drone, the GoPro, you got the night vision, stealth cam, and you got trail cameras all around the property. So, I mean, if they do come back, you're gonna have a better shot than last time.
Well, and I've got 11 cameras, I believe, counting the one that you brought.
Yeah.
And all of them are the blackout cameras. They don't have no flash to them. But as long as the batteries are good and strong, they really light the picture up.
Yeah.
They do a good job. But I showed my son one night. We were driving around the place, and we passed one of them. I said, "Did you see that camera go off?" He said, "No." He said, "Where's it at?" And I backed up. I said, "You see it now?" And the whole time it was taking our picture, you know. And they wasn't even a little old light of any kind on it.
Yeah.
But
Well, we got the recorders out there. One by the campground.
audio recorders, yeah. And you ought to have some pretty good stuff. At least some coyote hollering.
Yeah.
Hoot owls. You said the hoot owls was going off.
Oh, they were. They were like right there above me in the trees. I called them in. And then I got in that little creek last night and started walking it. Man, it was kind of spooky.
Well, bad thing about walking down that creek, something could jump on you from above.
Yeah.
You know.
That's what I heard is the lions will get up in the trees and
They
jump
will.
down, pounce you.
They will. But because them banks on that, you're way down in kind of a hole when you're down that creek walking along.
I thought about it. I was like, this is a bad idea. That e-bike's been working pretty good. It's a good way to zip around the property. Remember how I was walking all the way from the campground to here? Because if I drive, it's a pretty good drive.
Well, yeah,
With
it's
the
a pretty good
Mustang.
drive. Plus, you're not making any noise.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I told you I snuck up right on those turkeys.
Yeah.
They didn't know what I was. And that's another thing. They don't know what it is.
Yeah.
Like when a person's walking, they don't like hominids. But when you're on a bike or like a side-by-side, it's just like, it throws them off.
Yeah. Now, I'll tell you something else that I heard. It's been a week ago now, I guess. That real loud metal sounding noise. The impression that got me was a train backing up and connecting to some more cars. That loud.
Solid steel hitting each other.
Yeah.
I've heard that before.
And it was really loud. And I couldn't tell where it was coming from. Because it done it long enough, the noise lasted a little bit, maybe 10 seconds or so. And enough time you could try to figure out which way it was coming from, but I couldn't figure out where it was coming from. And I come home and asked Linda if she'd heard it. She said she didn't hear it, but
yeah, I told you how I heard in the middle of the woods at my place, like somebody shut the hatch to like a tank or like a submarine, just solid metal hitting, and that was in the deep woods. And one time I was camping back there, or no, maybe just exploring. I made a video and I was showing the little gifting basket. There's these little structures and it sounded like somebody hit a metal sign. Pow. It wasn't too far off either. I couldn't figure out what it was, but what do you think that is?
I don't have any ideas what that was. There's no train. There's a train that's about 30 miles from here, 35 miles. But this was sounded like it was right here, right there. You're right there at it, you know. And
Yeah.
I was out there the same day and heard some real loud, close knocking. It was so close that it really didn't sound like a tree knock. It just sounded like somebody took two baseball bats and hit them together, whack, you know.
Yeah.
And that happened the same day, but on the other side of the farm. And
The cattle seem...
the cattle are really,
spooked right
they're
now.
spooked.
Yeah.
They're really spooked right now.
I got the drone out, wasn't even close to them, and they just take off running.
Yeah,
The whole herd. I did an owl call earlier. They took off running. It's like anything, like they're
stressed.
Yeah.
They're real stressed right now. And the deer are, which the deer aren't out today. And that could have a lot to do with you been out wandering around, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah, it could be. They're not used to me being here.
the deer, the cattle, they just act like they're scared to death.
Yeah.
Of something. And any little different noise is causing them just to go berserk. I mean, they're wanting to leave.
Yeah. They don't know where to go though.
Uh-uh.
They're just running in circles.
They run in circles, stand for a little bit. Now, if I'm out there and I say something, they calm right down. But if I'm not out there, they don't know where to hide.
Yeah.
You know, they're trying to hide. And the other morning, it might have been this morning, the cows was right down here by my shop, and they was looking at that hill right there. And they was just standing real still and just staring at that hill over here. Mm-hmm. And I told Linda, I said, them hogs may be over there on that hill. I don't know. I never did see nothing.
Yeah.
But I couldn't figure out why them cows was just standing, and they was all looking the same, just standing there like they was froze.
Mm-hmm.
And
well, hopefully when they come back, we'll be ready for it. It seemed like they were here in October. Something was.
Yeah. I mean, for me, nothing, you know, just like I said, little things go on.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not threatening enough to even really think anything about it. You know, you know that it's something, but
well, everyone says those big giant trees that are derooted with all the dirt up, they say it's the wind, you know, tornadoes, things like that. Whenever I seen that orb, smelled that foul odor whenever we were camping back there, mm-hmm. After I left, you and Adam had that tree pushed over. Was there any wind that day? Was it real windy?
No,
yeah.
No, there wasn't no wind. Me and Adam sat there, and you guys had just left, been gone for a while, mm-hmm. And we were just sitting there, not talking about Bigfoot or nothing. We just sitting there visiting, and we'd sat there about 2 hours, down in the woods, right underneath the campground there, and like I say, we was there about 2 hours, and all of a sudden a tree was pushed down right behind us.
Mm-hmm. How far off, you think?
Oh, it wasn't but about 25 yards.
Okay.
The top of the tree landed about 25 yards from us.
Oh, wow.
And the root part, the tree it wasn't very big. It was probably it was a 12-inch tree, you know, 12-inch diameter. Mm-hmm. And but you guys had found that pie rock.
Yeah. And
I don't know if for sure, I don't know where you guys, the last thing I seen on your video you put that pie rock, shaped rock, on top of a old rotten stump.
Yeah.
And I don't know where you put it, but what I'm trying to say, I don't know if Adam might have got that rock and put it on that tree, but it's laying right on top of that tree now, down by the roots of that tree that was pushed over.
Really? Yeah, that is interesting.
And like I say, I don't know if Adam went and got that rock, because I don't know where you put it. This was at the bottom of the hill, and you guys was kind of at the top of the hill there. But
there's got to be something going on underneath us.
I told Adam, I said, well, we wore out our welcome.
Yeah.
And
Time to go.
And we went and we kind of investigated the tree, and we did hear something up on the hill by the campground. Like I say, we was only maybe 75 yards down below the campground. And but whatever it was, like I say, it was a nice day. It was about 60 degrees, 65 degrees, just nice to be out there. No wind, and that tree just, whoosh, just out of the blue.
Yeah. I had 3 go down in one day down at the creek bottom. And there was 0 wind.
The first thing that comes to mind when something like that happens, whatever, what in the world, but it just popped out of my mouth. Well, we've been here too long.
Yeah. It seems like they get irritated when you're in an area that they're hanging out at.
I told Adam, I said, we wore out our welcome. I guess we better go.
Yeah.
But
shocked you both though, huh?
Yeah. Adam said, oh my.